For LatinPost.com, I'm Millie Contreras. We spoke to actress Sofia Carson about her role as Evie in Disney's original movie, The Descendants. Hey, Sofia.
Hi.
It's nice meeting you.
Oh, nice to meet you too.
We're so happy you got to come to talk with us today at Latin Post. We're really glad at the opportunity to get to talk to you about your latest film, The Descendants.
Thank you so much.
So tell me, how did you find out about the film, and what got you interested in the role?
Well, I first found out about the film through auditioning in LA, and I auditioned at first for a top secret film, because Disney was being very secretive about the title and about all the information about the film. So all I was told was that it was about 4 outcasts who were coming into a new school and were kind of bullied.
Okay.
And I went in to read for the role of Audrey, who's Princess Ben's girlfriend in the movie. And I went in, I read, I got a call back the next day, and that's where I met Kenny Ortega, who I didn't know was directing, but I found out as I walked into the room, which was quite the amazing surprise.
Definitely.
I don't even know how I was able to speak after that shock, but it was a really cool experience. And then the next day, I got the call that I didn't get the part. So I kept going on auditions and, working hard. And 3 months later, I was auditioning for the role, a role on Liv and Maddie, Dove Cameron's show. And that's when they called me. They wanted me to read for the role of Evie on a new movie called Descendants. And when we put 2 and 2 together, we realized that was the movie I had auditioned for a couple of months prior, except this time it was a different role. So I went in the next day and I read the script, and I was immediately blown away, because I felt like I was reading, what happens after all the fairy tales that I loved so much as a little girl. It was like what happens after all the happily ever afters. And I loved Evie's story and the villain kids, and just the whole movie was really beautiful. And of course it helps that Kenny Ortega was directing the project and choreographing. So when I read the script, I was like, amazing that they have you here, but there's no way you're going to get this part, so enjoy it while you're here. So we were all, I think, a bit shocked and really, really surprised when I got the call that I got this part, and it completely changed my life, and I'm so thankful for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
thank
amazing.
you.
That's a great story to tell,
Thank
actually,
you.
too. Who were you closest to on set? You got to work with several up-and-coming Disney stars and some current Disney stars. Who were you closest to?
I can't pick one. Well, the 4 of us, the 4 villain kids, we got really close. We had to spend the longest hours together, and we had the most scenes together, so I think definitely Cameron Boyce, Booba Stewart, and Dove Cameron, we all got really, really close. I also got really close to Diane, who plays Mulan's daughter, and Sarah, who plays Audrey. We all really got really close. We were like a family.
And what was your favorite memory from filming?
So many beautiful memories, but my favorite probably has to be, we were shooting the coronation finale, and it's when we're dancing to the finale, amazing song in this incredible castle, and we were on the steps of a beautiful palace, and I was dressed in my beautiful, long, gorgeous Evie gown. She had the best outfits. And it was like 11 p.m. at night, because we shot that over 2 nights, from like 11 to like 6 a.m. And my parents and my sister had just flown in all the way from Miami to Vancouver, which is a whole like 19-hour trip. It's a really long trip. They had just gotten there, and it was freezing cold. And I stepped on the stage, and I had just performed the song for the first time. I looked out to the stage, and I had this huge rush of adrenaline. And I looked out, and I saw them like smiling and happy for me and cheering me on, and it was kind of when I realized that, wow, my dream has come true, and I felt so lucky that I had them there, because it wouldn't have happened without them, and to have them there with me just made it so special.
It was nice to have the support.
Oh yeah, it's
Definitely.
everything. It's everything, yeah.
So tell me, what was the most challenging part of this role for you?
Well, it was my very first movie.
Yeah.
So that in itself was a little scary.
That's understandable, totally.
Yeah, understandable. A little scary. So that at first was definitely a little bit scary for me, but the cast was really great, and they were really supportive, and I learned a lot from them, and from Kenny, of course, and Kristen and Kathy. So once I got over like my initial nerves, I think the hardest part was probably working on green screen. I had never done it before. I know a couple hadn't done it before either, and we shot the big ending scene, the big coronation scene, we shot in green screen. So when it looks like we're in a cathedral, we're just in a big green cube. So, and it was it is definitely the most emotional scene in the movie. So you kind of had to imagine the world for yourself, imagine yourself in that cathedral, imagine Maleficent appearing out of nowhere, and kind of spur up those emotions when all you're seeing is green.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah.
so that was really cool to learn how to do that as an actor. It was a really cool challenge, so that was definitely probably the hardest thing we did.
And you mentioned working with like veterans like Kenny Ortega. What was the best piece of advice that he or Kristen Chenoweth gave you while working with them?
I think from Kristen I learned kind of more from her demeanor and how she carried herself. She is, as you know, such an experienced actress and so talented and yet so humble. And I loved seeing that because I had never really, my first time working with actors, especially big names. And you know, you hear stories all the time, terror stories about how they're all divas or whatever it is. And she was just so cool. And she would walk into that stage, she would blow us all away, and then she would be just as cool as anyone else, like be super cool with the crew and the cast. And she was
down
just
to earth,
humble,
right?
she was real. And that was a big lesson, and I really loved seeing that. And her work ethic was also a big inspiration. And Kenny, so much that we learned from Kenny. I think probably what I learned most was like his relentless pursuit of perfection, how much he kept pushing and pushing and pushing us to be our best version, you know, the best version of ourselves or the best version of us as actors. I think he knew what he wanted to see on the screen and he knew what we were capable of, and he just pushed us until he saw it. And we grew a lot from that and we learned a lot from that. It was like the relentless pursuit of perfection.
He sounds like a good role model
Yeah,
to have around, definitely. You spoke in an interview with El Mundo about how Belle is a princess that you can relate to because you were able to connect with her because of your Colombian roots, because she mostly
brown hair.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you see Disney diversifying their characters a little bit more in the future?
You know what, I think Disney's always been really good at having diverse characters and princesses. Like, from the very beginning, they were princesses from every part of the world. So I think Disney's done a really good job at that, and I think especially what I've experienced is they've really embraced my bicultural essence. Like, they really love the fact that my parents are Colombian, that I am Hispanic, and I think that's a really great part of the company.
What do you think made these Latina Disney stars different? What do you think helped them stand out? Do you think it was their roots?
I think most definitely. I think being Hispanic, being bicultural is a great thing, and it does give you a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
And also, there are so many people just like me in the United States, just like both of us. You know what I mean? You know, sons and daughters of Hispanic parents. So I think that helps too, because when I was a little girl watching TV, I liked that Selena Gomez kind of looked like me, or that I kind of looked like her, and I think it definitely helps.
Same here.
Yeah.
I agree completely. So, speaking of stars like Selena or Demi, then there's Miley, several Disney stars have spoken out in the past about struggling to live up to the expectations that come with being a Disney star. How do you deal with that pressure? How do you deal with being in the limelight?
Well, this is all very new for me, as you know. So far, I'm really just thankful, and it's all kind of surreal and a dream, and I feel so thankful to be a part of the company and that they believed in me. You know, it's natural. There are pressures just to be behind a camera. You know, not only being in Disney Channel, just being behind a camera has natural pressures. So you know, you learn. But I think it's best to not look at it as a pressure and just kind of like it's part of the job. You have to, you know, you have to look good in front of the camera, or you know, there's just certain things that come with the job, and it's a blessing more than anything else. That's
a great attitude to have, especially in this industry.
Yeah.
So you were featured in People en Español's Most Beautiful of 2015. So cool. What an honor.
Yes, totally.
And you spoke about beauty and the pressures of being a young woman.
Right.
What advice would you give your fans out there about dealing with this, and what have you done to keep yourself confident?
Definitely. Well, that's one of the things that is probably closest to my heart. And in Descendants, Evie's story is exactly that. You know, she starts off being her mother's daughter, the Evil Queen's daughter, believing that beauty is everything, and that what defined her is her reflection in the mirror. And as a girl, especially in this industry, but as a girl, just in general.
In
It's so easy to fall into the trap of wanting to be skinnier or prettier or to look like the girl in the magazine or the girl on the TV show, or just to be, you know, better than what we are. And my mom, which I'm so thankful for, always raised me to believe that I am beautiful on the inside, and that that is true beauty, and that the second you embrace that and you love yourself for that, and you love your weirdness and your quirks, and you surround yourself with people who think you're beautiful for who you are, then that is really beautiful, and then that reflects, and that is true beauty. But like even today, I was like, oh, I don't know if I feel comfortable in this dress. And my mom was like, it's inside of you, you know? You have to feel beautiful inside, and then that will reflect, and it's so true. It's hard to be a girl. It's not always easy.
It is.
But if you feel beautiful on the inside, I think no one can stop you.
It's true. With so many media outlets,
Totally.
it's hard for girls.
Especially nowadays, where everything is public and on social media.
Exactly,
Everything is about the photo. If I don't look good in the photo, it ruins your day.
How many selfies?
Exactly. Exactly.
Definitely.
It's so easy. So you have to know that we're beautiful on the inside. Yeah.
So, to conclude, what would you want Disney Channel viewers to take from the film as a whole, and from Evie as a character?
Well, from Evie as a character, I think she speaks a lot to girls and in the struggle that we have as girls, and that is really that she discovered, you know, in her 16 years of believing that all she had to do was be a pretty face and get a Prince Charming to give her a happy ending.
Exactly.
That you don't need a Prince Charming, first of all, to give you happiness, because once you find your beauty on the inside, that's what gives you happiness, and that's what it means, I guess, to be the fairest of them all, to be beautiful inside. And then from the movie in general, I hope they have fun watching the film. I hope they see a little bit of themselves in the villain kids, but most of all, I hope that they see that behind the musical numbers and behind the leather outfits and the magic and the fairy tale and the wigs, it's just the story of 4 kids who are growing up. They're discovering who they are, dealing with the pressures that we all deal with every day of not knowing who we want to be and feeling the pressure of something that we're supposed to be, whether it's from our peers or our parents, and that we all have a little bit of good and bad inside of us. And the most important thing is that we have the power to choose the good, and that is so important, that we can choose who we want to be.
And that's the magic of Disney, being able to tell stories.
Tell those stories, but in such a beautiful way.
In a very creative
while
way.
having fun and dancing and being cool and talking about villains.
Exactly,
Do you know what I mean?
yes.
You know, you would never think that these 4 villains who, you know, we've all grown up being afraid of the Evil Queen and Maleficent, and now being able to sympathize with their kids.
Rooting for them.
And learning from them, it's really beautiful.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you so much.
I'm
It's an
sure
honor for me
our
to be
readers
here.
are excited to get to know you a little more,
Oh,
and
thank you.
we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And we're sure to see you in the coming months and years.
Thank you. I hope so.
Thank you to Sofia Carson. Make sure to check out Disney's The Descendants when it premieres July 31st on Disney Channel. Check us out online and at latinpost.com. I'm Millie Contreras. Thanks for watching.